Hi friends, today we are going to discuss about the working capital management. Working capital management is basically concerned with the management of the current assets and the current liabilities. It is also concerned with the problems that arise in attempting to manage the current assets, the current liabilities, and also the interrelationship that exists between both of them. Now for that we need to understand what is the current assets. The current assets are the assets that can be converted into cash also within a accounting period or the operating cycle. Now operating cycle is the time period in which the business operates. Supposedly the operating cycle of a business is 1.5 years or 2 years. So the current assets of that enterprise will be the current assets that can be converted into cash within that stipulated time period. Now current assets consist of cash, short-term securities, debtors, accounts receivable or the books receivables, bills receivables, and the stock. Okay, now let's move to the next, that is the net working capital. That is a broader concept and is being usually used. Net working capital is the current assets minus current liabilities. Now you've already understood the concept of current assets. Now you need to understand about the concept of the current liabilities. Now current liabilities are the claims of the outsiders, right? Like the creditors to whom you have to pay. Similarly, this also has to be paid within the year or the one accounting period, right? So in this we have the net working capital, that is the difference between the current assets and the current liabilities. Positive net working capital will be when the current assets are more than your current liabilities. However, in negative working capital is when your current liabilities are more than your current assets. Now the concepts of working capital, gross working capital and net working capital we have already done. So can you tell me what are the concepts or what does the gross working capital focuses on? Yes, the gross working capital focuses on the optimization of the investments in current assets only. That is financing of the current assets, the management of the current assets. Whereas the net working capital deals with the liquidity of the firm. How it depends upon the liquidity of the firm, like how much or how oftenly we are able to manage our current liabilities or how efficiently we are able to pay off our current liabilities out of our current assets. Also, how are we able to manage our short-term and long-term financing. So moving further, the operating cycle. Operating cycle is very important. Operating cycle is the time duration required to convert sales after the conversion of the resources into inventory and then to the cash. Now see, the business operates. Firstly, what does the business do? It acquires the raw material via cash, right? And from that raw material is being converted into finished goods. Finished goods are being sold on credit or to the via cash, and this credit is being realized into cash, and that cash is being utilized further to purchase the raw material. This circle goes on, and this is known as the operating circle. The one circle that starts from the cash and that ends to the cash is the operating circle of the firm. Now here our manufacturing enterprises comprises of the 3 steps. First is the acquisition of the raw material, right? That will be through your cash and the labor, power and the fuel, and then the manufacturing of the products, that is the work in progress and the finished goods, and finally the finished goods are being sold on either cash or the credit. And the credit sales creates accounts receivables and that are being collected, and again these from the cash received from the receivables are used for the acquisition of the resources, that is again you purchase the raw material. This circle goes on and on. Further we can see over here the same thing is being explained to you. So we can see that is raw material plus work in progress and the finished goods, right? This is your inventory conversion period. These are your purchases and then these are being sold, the accounts are being received, and finally the collection is being made either on credit or cash, and this circle keeps on repeating. We can see that the length of the operating cycle of a manufacturing firm is the sum of the inventory conversion period, this one, plus debtors receivable or the conversion period, this one, right? This plus this is equal to your operating cycle of a manufacturing firm. Next is the inventory conversion period. That comprises of the three steps we've already discussed in detail: the raw material conversion period, the work in progress, and the finished goods. This comprises of the inventory conversion period. Now the formulas that can come in the exam is the you can just mug it up. The raw material conversion period is the raw material inventory divided by the raw material consumption divided by 360 or 365 days, or the 12 months, whichever is given in the exam. Similarly, for the work in progress conversion period is equal to work in progress of inventory divided by cost of production. It is very important to note over here is the cost of production divided by 360. Further, we have the finished goods conversion period, that is the finished good inventory divided by the cost of goods sold. Now over here we need to remember our denominators. Now is a debt receivable conversion period, already discussed. Now debt conversion period is the average time taken to convert the debtors into cash. This is represented as the average collection period, right? So the formula will be debtors divided by the credit sales into 360. Now 360 over here represents the number of days, or you can even multiply it with the 12 to get the debtors conversion period into the number of months. Similarly, the creditors payable period can be calculated by creditors divided by credit purchase into 360. Over here also the you can either take the number of days or in months. Now the cash conversion or the net operating cycle, these both are the same thing. It is the difference between the gross operating cycle and the payable deferral period. So the difference between the gross operating cycle and the deferral period is known as your operating cycle, right? I hope there's no confusion. Alright. Now there are also two types of working capital. One is permanent or the fixed, and another one is the fluctuating or the variable working capital. As the name suggests, that permanent working capital that remains constant irrespective of the operations of the business, right? It is fixed working capital. For example, if the business is being operated, if it is on rent, then every month you have to give the rent irrespective of your profits, irrespective of your volume of the raw material that is being used. Similarly, the electricity has to be paid, the electricity bill. However, in terms of fluctuating or the variable capital, what happens is it keeps on changing with your level of activities of the production. Okay, for example, the labor, it keeps on changing, right? When there is more production, more of the labor is being needed. Here is a diagram that shows that fixed working capital remains constant, whereas temporary working capital keeps on fluctuating. Hence, we can say that there is a need for the balanced working capital position, as it is suggested. Supposedly, we have excess of working capital. That means your current assets are more than your current liabilities. In that case, that means you are not giving adequate time to your customers, to your debtors, that they can use or they can avail the credit for. And this also means that your funds are being lying idle. Similarly, in case of inadequate working capital, this signifies that you may run illiquid in the upcoming years and you may not be able to pay to your creditors. Now let's move further. Now what are the determinants of the working capital? Firstly, it is a need of the business. Supposedly the business is being operated in the hotel industry. In that industry, only 10% of the capital, 10 to 20% of the working capital is being required, because it's a service industry, right? Hotels, the restaurants, the eating houses. Whereas in terms of the industry that is being operated in the manufacturing sector, the requirement for the capital might vary from 80 to 90%. Then is the demand, market and the demand. If the market and the demand are favorable, then more of the working capital is required, and the vice versa. And similarly, in terms of technology and the manufacturing policies, if they are in our favor, if there's a need to increase the technology, then more of the working capital is required, and the vice versa. The credit policy suggests that when you are giving more of the credit to your customers, then there is a need for more of your working capital. And in terms of operating efficiency, if the operating efficiency is good, then there's need for lesser working capital, and the vice versa. In terms of inflation, when inflation is rising, more of the working capital is required. Now, what are the issues in the working capital management? See, working capital management, we are going to discuss the alternate policy of the current asset policies. We are going to discuss this in detail. One is the aggressive, then one is the conservative, and between these two is the average on the hedging or the, this is the average or the matching approach. Now, over here in this diagram, can you see that one is your cost of illiquidity? That means your current assets are decreasing over here. If your current assets are decreasing, that means the cost of your illiquidity is increasing. Whereas when your current assets are increasing, your cost of liquidity is increasing, right? And this is the total cost of the firm, where these two meet is the optimum cost, because we need to maintain the optimum working capital in the firm. Now the policies, the working capital financial policies that we were discussing, we are going to discuss that. First is the matching approach, right? Matching approach is also known as the hedging strategy or the moderate approach or the matching strategy. Now, according to this approach, non-current assets should be financed by long-term financing and your current assets by short-term financing. Thus, we can say that in this approach, the business should use long-term financing to finance non-current assets and the permanent working capital, whereas the need for the temporary working capital should be met by the short-term financing, right? Now, in the conservative approach, it has the lowest risk and the lowest profitability among other working capital strategies. How? It's like because business use long-term financing to fund not only the non-current assets and the permanent working capital, but also some proportion of the temporary working capital. This approach has the lowest liquidity risk because of the excessive cash is required, right? Because liquidity risk is low, because they are financing what? They are financing both the long-term assets and the short-term assets with your long-term funds. Now, the last approach is the aggressive approach. That is the riskiest of all. And in this approach, the working capital, it doesn't assume to hold any reserves to cover spontaneous needs of working capital. It means that only some proportion of the permanent working capital is financed by long-term financing, and the rest and the temporary working capital, including the seasonal fluctuations, are met by the short-term borrowing. Adopting this approach makes it possible to reduce the interest expenses and increase the profitability of the firm, but it also has the greatest risk. Thank you guys. If you have liked my video, kindly subscribe and discuss it with your friends. Thank you.